The Satanic Temple has amicably settled the $50 million lawsuit with Netflix and Warner Brothers and Copyright Row over Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The Satanist group claimed that the entertainment giants copied its depiction of the goat-headed deity Baphomet in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Lawsuit details will remain confidential. Don't you just love misleading headlines? I love misleading headlines. Looks like I'm going to have to set the record straight, because I don't see anybody else doing it. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Jaquel. Today I want to take on a very time-sensitive topic. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to over-prepare this episode. Did I just call it an episode? I guess it's an episode now. Oh well. Didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare this video. So I apologize if it's a little choppy and a little quick, but I don't see a whole lot of people talking about this subject. And that is the case of Sabrina versus the Satanic Temple. Is it just me, or did the contrast sincerely just go up? So I understand that there is a difference between what I'm familiar with and what the Satanic Temple is. And I'm not 100% sure about everything that they're about. However, we both might learn something moving forward with this video, because for a lot of this, I've actually pulled up the main website for the Satanic Temple, which is thesatanictemple.com. Link in the description below. Beside the point, there's been a little bit of buzz about the Netflix television show using the likeness of Baphomet and the Baphomet Statue. And the Satanic Temple has gone ahead and sued them for that, which they have, as I said at the beginning of the video, settled in court for $50 million. I don't understand, don't know the proceedings and what led to that, but probably has something to do with likeness rights and copyright violations and such like that. I feel that a lot of these headlines are misleading, and some of the articles are even poorly researched. Some of, I'm not going to point out which ones exactly. I'm not going to start calling people out. Some of them tend to be misleading and not well researched, because if they did their research, they would understand that the issue is not with the likeness of Baphomet. The issue is with the likeness of the specific Baphomet statue that they used, which was something that they had commissioned to be made and have the rights to. I'm not sure if Netflix properly knew this before going ahead and using the statue, which is in... here's a still of that real quick. It's in a scene where Sabrina first arrives to the Witches' Academy ironically, after a court settlement with Satan himself. And she goes to the academy after that court deal, and that is one of the first things that we see when she enters the academy, is that particular statue. So there are some differences between the classical depiction of Baphomet as there is to the Baphomet statue owned and licensed and copyrighted by the Satanic Temple. And I was going to explain those differences, but I realized that there was a video that I could use just as well, which features the spokesperson and co-founder of the Satanic Temple, Lucian Greaves, explaining what the differences are. So here's that real quick.
There was a occult historian, Eliphas Levi, in the 19th century who drew the original picture of the hermaphroditic Baphomet character with the goat head in the human body and the caduceus in the center. We wanted to use Baphomet for our monument because we felt those binary elements spoke to the idea of the reconciliation of opposites. Pointing above, below. You'll notice the pentagram in the back has 2 points up, and the one on the head has 1 point up. And the caduceus, of course, symbolizing reconciliation and negotiation. We took off the breasts, which kind of compromised the hermaphroditic features, and as the compromise to that, we put a male and female child at each side. We took away the breasts because having anything clothing the female chest just didn't look right artistically at all, but we knew if we had bare female breasts on the monument, they would take that opportunity to claim that they couldn't accept the monument on decency grounds or something ridiculous like that.
So clearly there are some differences, and they own the copyright to it. They commissioned it, had it built. But why? Why did they have that statue built? Allow me to educate you. So before I go too far ahead of myself, let's take a look at the About Us page on the satanictemple.com. Links in description below. To see kind of what they're about and their mindset that led them to this particular creation of the Baphomet statue. About Us. Oh, God, hang on. Much better. The mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy among all people, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense and justice, and be directed by the human conscience to undertake noble pursuits guided by the individual will. That's the first part. I don't want to get yelled at or in trouble for reading the whole thing. Just go check it out yourself. Essentially, they oppose the idea of church and state being together. They're real advocates for the separation of church and state. And being a religion themselves, they don't think that their message should be heard louder. They don't think that other religions don't have a say in things, just that they don't have a say in law. So when another religion comes in and tries to get things muddied up in legal proceedings and trying to get religious legislature passed, the Satanic Temple is right there to have a counter argument, whether that's another piece of legislature or that is just them making public ritualistic protests. Oh, random wardrobe change. My laundry was finished. I felt like getting more comfortable. Where was I? So, being the way that the Satanic Temple has been, long story short, there was so being a somewhat activistic group, the Satanic Temple heard about a Ten Commandments statue that was being donated to be put in front of an Arkansas Capitol building. Let's see, what was it? A Capitol building, state Arkansas.
Actually wrote a letter to Oklahoma stating our intention of donating a monument to go alongside the Ten Commandments monument. We didn't actually have a monument in mind. We didn't have a design already in place. We had to come up with one after the fact. And Baphomet is what we settled on eventually because we felt it perfectly kind of paralleled some of the arguments for the Ten Commandments being placed on the Capitol grounds.
So I'm going to read an article out loud, not all of it, from posted by David Kuhn on Wednesday, January 25th, 2017, in the Arkansas Times. During a short meeting this morning near the Arkansas State Capitol, a 3-member subcommittee of the Capitol Arts and Grounds Commission deemed a monument site plan submitted by the Satanic Temple sufficient to move forward to a public comment phase, part of an effort to decide whether the group will be allowed to install a 10-foot bronze representation of the goat-headed pagan god Baphomet on the grounds of the Arkansas State Capitol. A group around 30 Catholic protesters held signs and prayed outside the building where the meeting was held. The move to place the Baphomet statue on the Capitol grounds is a centerpiece of the Satanic Temple's effort to get the state legislature to reconsider the placement of a Ten Commandments monument at the rear of the Capitol. The Ten Commandments monument, which ACLU Arkansas and others have called a clear violation of the constitutional separation of church and state, has already been approved by the legislature and the same subcommittee who decided on the Satanic Temple's site plan today. Today's meeting was very to the point with the Satanic Temple spokesman Lucian, I'm still not certain 100%, answering brief questions from the subcommittee, sometimes referring to the rolled set of architectural plans he had brought with him, the plans which were requested by the committee at the last meeting in Little Rock about the Baphomet statue. After 3 members of the subcommittee unanimously approved the site plan, Chief Deputy Secretary of State Kelly Boyd told Greaves that a public comment meeting would be held at a date to be announced later, though Boyd said that the meeting wouldn't be until after the end of the current legislative session. Boyd then reminded Greaves that in order for the Baphomet statue to actually be installed on the grounds, it, like other monuments installed on the grounds in recent years, would need to be approved by the Arkansas State Legislature. Boyd noted that if Greaves doesn't get the Baphomet statue approved this session, it will be 2 years before the Satanic Temple will get another chance. The Ten Commandments monument already has legislative approval.
Oklahoma was claiming, and now Arkansas is claiming the same. Oklahoma was claiming that because this was a privately donated monument, it didn't violate the Establishment Clause. Other private donors could donate monuments as well. But more importantly, they were saying that the Ten Commandments was not meant to be taken as a religious monument, but as a monument to a historical document that spoke to the codification of constitutional law, and will set aside dissecting whether or not there's anything similar between the Constitution and the Ten Commandments. Just to spoil that, there isn't.
This one is a little more updated, and it appears to come directly from the SatanicTemple.com blog, the Satanic Temple News. So, all rights go to the Satanic Temple for the following article. As Arkansas erects Ten Commandments monument, the Satanic Temple prepares to file religious discrimination suit. After nearly a year since the destruction of the first installation of Arkansas's controversial Ten Commandments, toppled by a self-described born-again Christian, a replacement monument will be installed tomorrow on the Little Rock Capitol grounds. Litigation from groups who feel that the overtly religious monument is unconstitutional and or discriminatory is immediately forthcoming. Having offered a monument of their own in honor of pluralism and religious freedom, the Satanic Temple now intends to sue the state of Arkansas, arguing that the rejection of their monument establishes unconstitutional religious preferences by the state. As soon as other invested parties file their lawsuits disputing the constitutionality of the Ten Commandments monument, we will file an intervener, essentially merging the cases, the Satanic Temple spokesperson and co-founder Lucian Greaves explains. So, now, after a years-long process around this statue of Baphomet, there comes along Warner Brothers and Netflix I don't know whose call it was, but they both went into producing The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. After all of this frustration and legal deliberation and battling, they don't even so much as ask permission to use the likeness of this Baphomet statue. Understanding this now, everything that's been around this, one would think that big companies like Netflix or Warner Brothers would do their research to see if the statue that they're using had any copyright claims or anything like that. And it does. Especially since discovering whether or not it was copyrighted or trademarked was as easy as me just looking on the About page. Let's take another look at that About page. Oh, look, there's the About Us. And what's on the second half of that? Legal, trademark, and copyright notice. Oh, and look, there it is. The Baphomet Statue is protected by copyright and owned by United Federations of Churches, LLC, DBA, the Satanic Temple. If somebody with no college degrees, only the wit and curiosity of a YouTuber, accidentally stumbled upon the legal, trademark, and copyright notice, a big business, at least one of the two businesses at hand, could have discovered the legal, trademark, and copyright notice. Either they didn't do their research when it was as easy as that, or they just didn't care enough. And that is exactly why they got sued. And now you're just a little bit more understanding about the situation. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of people out there who knew this, took the time to research, and not every single article was as misleading. But with so many that were, not everybody would have seen that particular bit of information. Some people don't even know that the legal battle between the Satanic Temple and the state of Arkansas was even a thing. And I had heard about it. I had seen it. Granted, my circuits and understanding and interest would lead me more toward seeing something like that. But I'm pretty sure even sites and groups such as Now This, and BuzzFeed, and Vice, clickbaity article generators like them, have said at least something about that. So, I just felt the need to point this out and bring this to the attention of other people, and to help defend an underdog in religious organizations. Not that they need it. Trust me, I don't think that they do. However, I felt it necessary and took it upon myself because this was fucking bothering me. And don't get me wrong, the media should have a right to free press, but this just leads me to reaffirm my belief. Don't always take what you see on the internet for face value. But as Sensei Salvia has said, I thought we learned that shit in the 90s. But what do I know? I'm just an old head. I'm almost 30. Or if you want to give it a different spin, oh, I'm just a millennial. That's all for today, and any of the videos that I used, any of the articles and sites that I referenced, links in the description. And if you are interested now, or have ever been previously, including now, about what the Satanic Temple is about, and more of their core tenets and beliefs, links to their About page will also be down there. But now I ask, let me know what you think. What do you think about this whole situation? What are your opinions here, there, and anywhere else? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments section. Did I forget anything? Did I misspeak at any point? I'm not overly educated on the subject, just a little bit more than maybe somebody else. So I could have gotten something wrong, and for that I apologize. Please let me know. And if I feel like it's a big enough deal, I will go ahead and address it later on in another video. So, until next time, much love. Peace out. Namaste. And, oh, hang on. I think I have a clip for this. I'm going to go ahead and play out the video. In Pensacola, Florida, there was a satanic individual in robes that was leading a satanic invocation during the court proceedings. Enjoy that if you will. Or if you don't, whatever. Alright. Bye.